How Kim Jong Un spends his $100 billion fortune. Kim Jong Un is no stranger to controversy. He also is no stranger to cash either. The so-called supreme leader of North Korea has an estimated $5 billion to use as he wishes. But sources believe he controls over $100 billion fortune. Kim is known for being a bit on the eccentric side and has complete control of his country. When you put these two things together, you know that he's going to spend a lot on the things that are both totally extravagant and totally ridiculous all at once. Eager to know how? Well, this is how Kim Jong Un spends his $100 billion fortune. Welcome back to our channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. Number 5. Cars. You might think that a guy with Kim Jong Un's level of riches might have a lot of cars, and you know what? The word is that he has over 100 of them, and his favorite car manufacturer is Mercedes-Benz. They teach in North Korean schools that he was a prodigy behind the wheel, and he learned how to drive at 3. How would he possibly have learned to drive when he was so short that his feet couldn't have reached the pedals? Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, was a great Mercedes-Benz aficionado. It is known that he's owned more than 30 Mercedes-Benz vehicles, including a G500, S655 AMG, and among them all, the S600 Pullman Guard was his favorite. After his father's death, Kim Jong-un inherited his collection of Mercedes-Benzes, including this limousine. S600 Pullman Guard is an armored vehicle from the S-Class lineup which protects up to the European B7 level. The car can withstand full metal jacket-pierced bullets, C4 grenades, and the list goes on. The car has run flat tires, a self-sealing 90-liter fuel tank, improved suspension and brakes, and most of all, a 5.5-liter V12. For Kim Jong-un, who is a target for numerous Western enemies, he would definitely need protection from harm. Other notable cars in his collection include Audi R8, Range Rover Sport, and Rolls-Royce Phantom. Number 4. Palaces. You might be curious as to where Kim Jong-un lives. The funny thing about that is, he probably is pretty curious about that too. The guy has 17 different palaces, at last count anyway, and he even has his own private island. I bet he can't even remember where he is half the time. 17 palaces is a lot, even if you do have billions to spend, but I bet he's on the hunt for even more. After all, the guy does seem to like spending a lot of money, and as you can see, while you keep watching this video, he sure does have a lot of stuff. So maybe he needs more places to keep everything. One of his favorites is the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun. On the outskirts of the Pyongyang stands the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, once the office and official residence of North Korea's founder-president Kim II Sung. In 1994, the palace underwent a significant transformation into a multi-generational mausoleum that now serves as the final resting place for President Kim II Sung, Kim Un's grandfather, and his son and successor, General Kim Jong-II, his father. President Kim II Sung and General Kim Jong-II now lie in state in separate rooms, each within a climate-controlled glass sarcophagus. The Kumsusan Palace of the Sun is one of the largest mausoleums in the world. The inside of the palace is characterized by vast walls, high ceilings, grand staircases, and opulent decoration throughout the myriad of rooms. Beyond the mausoleum chambers, there are rooms showcasing honorary titles, medals, and achievements that each leader received during their life. This is a ceremonial hall that includes statues of each leader, a hall of lamentation, and rooms highlighting each leader's trips taken locally and abroad. Important possessions including the train carriage where General Kim Jong-II passed away, the golf cart he used on field guidance trips, and even his boat can be exhibited inside the palace, preserved in the original state. Photographs of diplomatic sites between President Kim II Sung, General Kim Jong-II, and world leaders can be seen adorning the walls. The palace grounds form a park, green and manicured, with water fountains, bright flower beds, and a moat where swans can be seen. A granite fence encloses the complex. It's common to see Koreans taking professional group photos here after their visit inside. In one of his palaces, Kim built himself a movie theater. One of the things that many wealthy people seem to want is a luxury home movie theater. But even by those standards, Kim Jong-un's private theater really takes the cake. It cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build and has a 1,000-seat capacity. money. This is odd, but not as odd as you might think, since he has a collection of 20,000 movies, most of which are from the West. The Supreme Leader is also a big admirer of pianos, and the musical instruments fill his rooms. What kind of person needs over 30 pianos? Well, Kim Jong Un, that's who. The word is that he actually owns around 3 dozen of them, and they cost approximately $60,000 apiece. Why would anyone possibly want so many pianos? Our only guess is that he wants to feel totally rich no matter where he goes, and he does have a whole lot of palaces. On to number 3, private jets. You know how the plane that carries the President of the United States is called Air Force One? Well, Kim Jong Un has a private jet that he calls Air Force Un. The 4-engine Cold War legacy aircraft Tu-62M has a range of about 10,000 kilometers, enabling it to make a non-stop journey from North Korea to the west coast of the United States or European cities such as Zurich and Stockholm. It is more than capable of the 5,000-kilometer trip from Pyongyang to Singapore if a summit between the U.S. and North Korea were to ever take place there, as has been suggested on several occasions. Kim has another private jet, a Ukraine-made Antonov An-148, which had its first test flight in 2004 and began mass production in 2009. Kim has been shown by official North Korean media boarding or stepping out of the newly purchased An-148 and was photographed taking the plane with an interior refurbished for his private use for a spin over Pyongyang to celebrate his late father's birthday in February 2015. Korean Central News Agency images showed Kim sitting behind a large wooden desk with a lamp and an ashtray and occasionally staring out over the Capitol from his opulent white leather executive chair. Satellite images have shown that Kim has built several new runways long enough to land this aircraft next to some of his family palaces across the country in the first few years of his reign. In a further sign of his interest in taking to the sky, he has even piloted what may have been the plane himself with the help of a trained pilot. In an official documentary released in 2014, he was shown sitting in the cockpit, going through the manual checklist, taking off, flying, and landing. Number 2, watch and alcohol collection. You know, rich people do the silliest things. It is said that Kim Jong Un has a watch collection that is worth $8 million. Let that sink in for a little bit. This guy has a collection of watches that are worth $8 million. How far out of touch do you have to be to have a collection like that? Being rich and clueless is one thing, but being that way and running a country is another. Kim Jong Un prides himself on having an excellent sense of fashion, so we're not too surprised that he has a variety of watches to choose from to accessorize. Additionally, the Supreme Leader likes to booze a little, and there isn't anything wrong with that. All sorts of people do, right? But do all kinds of people spend $30 million importing liquor for him and his crew to drink every year? I don't think so. Part of the issue is that he only drinks the most expensive brands, such as Hennessy, which can cost over $2,000 if you're buying something top of the line. This is the actual difference between people that are super rich and the rest of us. If you're rich, you spend over $2,000 on a bottle of booze and think you're cool. And if you're poor, then that's just straight up insane. Number 1, investments. The North Korean leader has several commercial properties across the country he literally owns. He commissioned the development of the Pyongyang Amusement Park and the Munsu Water Park for $100 million, but the word is, once he invested, he didn't think as much of the parks as he had hoped, calling them pathetic. He is also an avid horse lover. Kim has a whole bunch of thoroughbred horses. In fact, it is estimated that around 20% of the entire state budget is spent on facilities to house and train the horses. Then there is a golf course. Kim Jong Un comes from a long line of golfers. His father, Kim Jong-il, once said he sunk 11 hole-in-ones in one day in a course that he owned. Apparently, Kim Jong-un also comes from a long line of liars as well. Come on. That never happened. He has more than one private golf course, and they cost around $3 million to develop and around $500,000 a year to maintain. Finally, the leader spent $35 million or so to develop a ski resort, in theory to boost tourism, but probably more because he is a fan of the sport and wants to ski there himself. The place is supposed to be pretty cool. It has rustic rooms, a spa, a restaurant, and 70 miles of ski slopes. That is precisely what millions of dollars of looted money can do. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out more videos on our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.